Yeah, put the, and also the other one. Perfect.
Tired.
You
Nope,
ready to
check the
go?
other one.
Okay.
All right,
Check
hold
that.
on. As soon as we're ready to go, we'll go.
Okay,
I'm ready.
right. As long as you're good. Yeah, he knows, he knows. Okay.
We've done this before.
Stacy told me to make sure, so I'm just being.
All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Monday, April 20th. It's approximately 1 o'clock. This is the weekly meeting work session of the Board of Commissioners of Weber County. I'm Commissioner Gage Floor. I'll be conducting this afternoon. With me to my left is Commissioner Sharon Bowles. To my right, Commissioner Jim Harvey. He'll wave at the people. We do have first action item, which would be to approve or action on the minutes for the commission work session held on April 13th.
Motion to approve is
Second.
presented.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Let's go to our next agenda item, which is opioid presentation. We actually have, I believe, with us 4 groups that we've reviewed your proposals, and we've asked you to come back in and just maybe take 5 minutes to explain exactly what your program may be. So we're just gonna start. We're gonna ask if you're presenting to come over to that side of the table, if that's all right. We apologize to those that have our backs to you, but that's how the room's set up. So we're gonna start as per the agenda, which would be the SOAR, School of Addiction Recovery, Inc. Yeah, whoever's involved with that.
That would be me.
That'd be Frank, right? Welcome.
Thank you so much. I didn't know what this would look like, and so I don't have like pamphlets or anything. I did have a YouTube video, but instead of playing it, which might present technological difficulties or something, I could just maybe email it to someone. You guys could check it out or something. Or
Okay, that works.
what would ever be easiest, but yeah, thanks for having us. Like I said, my name is Frank Jameson. I'm Executive Director of SOAR, School of Addiction Recovery. I'm proud to say that I've been clean from heroin and methamphetamine for 8 years, and I went through SOAR myself, and SOAR has been helping people like myself transform our lives since 2010. And yeah, we just appreciate your time and urge you to prioritize funding for places like SOAR, because we believe that every dollar invested in a place like SOAR goes to prevent future hospitalizations, overdoses, incarceration costs, judicial costs. So it makes it a fiscally responsible use of the opioid funds, I believe. But what is SOAR? So we're a nonprofit addiction recovery center here in Ogden. Like I said, we've been operating since 2010.
What does it stand for, SOAR?
School of Addiction Recovery. It used to be called WAR. So from 2010 to 2019, it was Workout Addiction Recovery. And from 2019 to present, it's been SOAR, School of Addiction Recovery. We have 3 different youth programs. We have a myriad of community programs. So we have breath work, we have yoga, we have free family programming to help family members of those affected. We also have a free class for women every Saturday for women in recovery to come, to work out, to learn, to circle up. And all that's in addition to our adult program, which is our flagship recovery program, right? And in that program, we serve individuals in early recovery, those in long-term recovery, those transitioning from detox, inpatient programs, and people who really have nowhere else to turn, right? I think that traditional treatment alone is not enough. I think we need comprehensive kind of long-term recovery support systems, and that's where places like SOAR come in, right? We help fill the gaps after detox and rehab by providing that and providing a structured and accountable place where people can come, continue to grow, continue to heal, and just get better, right? I have a few metrics. I didn't want to mess them up, so I wrote them down on my phone. So at SOAR, we track certain data and outcomes, and we found that over 80% of our participants have shown improvement over time in their mental health and recovery well-being scores. So we test people's scores upon intake and every 30 days thereafter. And 4 out of 5 people over time with SOAR show an increase in these scores. And it's a psychometrically valid tool that was developed by a university in England that measures essentially recovery well-being by asking questions about housing, about mental health, about your connections, about your job, about how you're doing, right? We also have been able to provide financial assistance, which means partial and full scholarships to nearly half of our participants. So 43% of people that come through our door receive scholarships, because no one should be denied recovery due to financial hardship. There's already too many barriers to access, and so we're trying to lower that a bit. Another one was last fall. Some Weber State students conducted a 3-month study at SOAR assessing client satisfaction and impact. It was a qualitative study, not a quantitative one, but they essentially found that not only did participants have overwhelmingly positive experiences, they found three themes that emerged highlighting the importance of what SOAR does. So it was the core value of peer and staff community, the integration of physical and mental wellness, and also a permanent lifestyle shift beyond traditional treatment. Because that's really what it boils down to, is learning not just how to set it down, but how to keep it set down, right? And that's what the core crux is with substance use disorder, whether it's alcohol, whether it's opiates, whether it's meth, right? Is most people can stop for a period of time, but the issue is, how do you stay stopped? I mean, I know countless people that, oh yeah, I put it down for a week, a month, 3 months, 6 months, but then something always pulls them back in. And that's what we try to focus on, is that permanent lifestyle shift, right? So it's not just about treatment or recovery, it's about saving lives and hopefully building sustainable and worthwhile and meaningful lives.
Okay, so remind us again, the amount of money you're looking for and exactly what it would be used for then, in terms of your program.
I'd have to go back to the
Maybe Shelley knows.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
asking for 15,000 for, and that covers 5 scholarships.
So these are scholarships. I think we talked about
So it's
that.
providing scholarships for people that don't have access to traditional treatment.
And is that scholarship good for 1 year, or what is it?
Yeah, so it's essentially what it is it's a 90-day program, a 3-month program, and it covers 10 hours of group a week. It covers all our experiential therapy. It covers weekly one-on-one sessions.
Okay.
But more or less, it's a 90-day program, but that's like the buy-in, but the hope is that it becomes this long-term lifestyle shift, right? So half of our alumni have been coming for months, for years. And so when you graduate, we don't kick you out. It's more or less you earn your stripes and you just become part of our community, right?
Right.
Can I ask a question, Kate?
Sure,
Yeah,
go ahead.
you bet.
So it's a 3-month program. Do you have several 3-month programs a year? Or do you do it once a year?
So it's ongoing, and we just have a 12-week cycle that rotates. And so anyone could join essentially at any time, and their 3 months starts upon their date, right?
Okay.
So
Well,
someone
okay.
could join, today's Monday, today, and then they'd be in the program for 3 or 4 months,
That's good to know.
right? And then,
So does 3 months, does that get extended if they want, or how does,
yeah,
I mean,
it's just,
what
that's
happens at the
essentially,
end of that 3 months, and let's say that they still haven't accomplished?
yeah. So we don't really kick people out after the
Okay.
3 months. That's
All
the
right.
minimum it takes to graduate, essentially. It
Okay.
makes someone alumni, is you have to have 3 months in the program, but
Got it.
also 3 months sober. So say someone has a slip, we'd like to extend their 3 months again so that they learn how to get that 3 months under their belt before we give you kind of the check mark to go. But we're not like gonna then ask them to pay again or
Okay.
whatever. That's essentially part of the cost of the nonprofit. Just that's
That's,
a one-time buy-in, and we'll just keep helping you.
I get it, okay. Commissioner Bolos, questions?
A couple of questions. I'm curious how you will award these scholarships, or how, I guess, if we're just adding to what it sounds like you already have scholarships, if we're adding to that, how do you choose those scholarship recipients?
So they fill out an application process, and then we essentially assess the need and then where they're at, and also their motivation for change. And so every scholarship's reviewed by our board of directors, and so it's not just one person looking at it. And so, I think a lot about it is the application, then we have them come back for an interview, kind of like this, right? And talk about because some people might just, like, their motive might be like, oh, I'm on probation and I really need to get my probation officer off my back. And I'm like, I appreciate that, but I want to see people that like truly are like, I'm done. I want a different kind of lifestyle. So I think we're more likely to award a scholarship to someone who's like showing that they're willing to put it down. And if you walk halfway, we'll meet you more than halfway there. So.
Okay, and one more question. So you said that you serve different populations, women, youth, families, adults. Are the scholarships for all of those, any and all who need that? And if so, then would our scholarship money just go into that pot where it can be used for any of those demographics?
Yeah, it's essentially, it could be either or. I'm not sure if there's necessarily stipulations with the fund that's toward, a lot of times set by, whatever entity is awarding the grant. But yeah, as it sits, it would go into our scholarship fund, and then just be given out to the various populations. And so it's primarily our adult population, and then one of our youth programs, the teenagers that come in, that kids that are starting to head off the wrong track or doing poorly in school or not going to school. We have a lot of adolescents in those programs. So
Great, thank you. That's all I have.
That's it,
Yeah,
Commissioner Harvey,
you bet.
questions?
I appreciate, if I understand it right, you substitute one addiction for another, which is working out.
Yeah, it's part of it. Yeah. we want you to build healthy lifestyles. And so the physical health is a huge part of it. You know, we have nutrition groups, we're taking you outside hiking, we're in the gym, we're playing in the sunshine, the water, just bringing it back to the basics.
Let me tell you, I could tell you commissioners, and I know they're here because you've already met minimum qualifications, all of you. This is a group, whenever someone's in need, they show up as a team and help move somebody or would help fix a yard or a fence or they also do a tremendous amount of service work. I have a niece that just got her 4 years.
Yeah.
Got her 4 years, and another dear friend of mine whose son was in a similar situation. So I've seen personal friends of mine who their kids have benefited from this program. I am very, I'd almost have to recuse myself from the vote because I love this program so much.
Thank you. That means a lot. That being said, like I like that we don't, money's tight, and so we don't spend a lot of money on advertising and like putting ads out there. Most of the people that walk through our doors are individuals like yourself. You're like, hey, I know someone that you've helped. My neighbor, someone in my ward, someone in my community, someone I work with. And so it's kind of the highest mark of recommendation we can get is the people that want to come, you know, we know someone that they've helped. And so we just keep helping people and the ripples hopefully keep building.
The founder of this was 11-year-old kid who used to come over and hit on my wife after we were married. Go ahead, Shelley, I said that. That's okay. He never succeeded there, but it's okay.
Linnell, you have a question?
Yeah, so Frank, and I've heard great things about your program as well.
Yeah.
And then maybe you said this, how many people do you serve a year?
So in our adult program, we average between 30 to 50 a year.
About 30 to 50 a year,
Yeah.
and how many do you have scholarships for?
About 43% of those.
Three, so
Yeah.
almost half.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, 30 to 50, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate it. So
Yeah,
just,
thank you so
so
much.
you know, and everybody else in the room, obviously, we have limited resources. We'd love to fund everybody to the full extent. Again, as Commissioner Harvey said, the reasons you're here is you're kind of on the short list. But the intent that we have is to try to make sure our funds replenish themselves, and i.e. that means we're going to try to invest the dollars we have to create ongoing funds, very similar to the program the state of Utah put together, so that if we see a program like this or any of yours that appears to have good success, we want to be able to continue that rather than fund. What we don't want to do is fund something today and then 2 years from now or 3 years from now, when the money goes away, we haven't really accomplished our goal. Our goal is to make sure that these people are taken off and cured, basically put back into our community without addiction. So that's just so you know kind of where our mindset's been. Anyway, but appreciate you being here. Frank, thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's sit down and listen to these other five
Thank you
folks.
bet.
Yeah.
It's an open forum.
Yeah.
So let's hear
We're
from,
community partners.
let's hear from the YCC Family Crisis Center. Welcome, come on up.
They didn't know about this till today, so it's awesome.
Stuff I'm reading off notes.
Welcome. You might just tell us who your names, and again, we know you're with the YCC.
Yes, my name is Amber Passo, and I'm the Victim Assistance Center Director at YCC. Sitting next to me is Jeanette Stenger, our Executive Director.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Nunley, who is our Domestic Violence Program Supervisor. And also, we hope to be our peer support specialist
Nice.
with this program.
Okay, time's yours.
Thank you. For 40 years, YCC has been a sanctuary for those fleeing domestic violence and sexual violence in Weber County. We operate 24/7 with a dedicated staff of 71, providing everything from emergency shelter, childcare, advocacy, case management, prevention, and housing. Okay. Today we are here to address a life-threatening reality that frequently accompanies survivors entering our care. And this has a profound and devastating reach, the profound and devastating reach of opioid addiction. About 2 years ago, we did have a resident staying in our shelter die from an opioid overdose. We are requesting $65,165 to launch a new program. a trauma-informed initiative specifically designed to bridge the gap between domestic violence services and opioid recovery. This is a part of our community that is deeply affected by addiction, and is underserved as well. So the problem, and I think we all know Weber County is currently facing one of the highest overdose rates in Utah. In 2023, the opioid overdose death rate was 20.6 per 100,000 people, which was much higher than the state average of 14.6. Within the walls of YCC, we see these statistics as human faces, as mothers, as daughters, as sisters, as aunts. Trauma and substance use are deeply intertwined. Survivors often use opioids to manage the physical and psychological pain of abuse. They have injuries, they're prescribed opioids, and then they become addicted. Or more chillingly, they are coerced into using these substances by their abusers. It's a method of control. So imagine a survivor fleeing for their life, and if they suffer from an opioid use disorder, and we don't have the specialized support to help them through the withdrawal, they have a really impossible choice. Untreated withdrawal in our shelter, which we've seen clients try to do that, we end up having to call emergency services, or returning to their abuser. So this is a gap in our services that we truly need and want to support. Last year, 45% of our 371 residents were actively engaged in substance use. Even more striking, if you talk to our shelter case managers, they estimate that up to 90% of our residents at least have some sort of history with substance use. In 2024, the urgency of this program became tragically clear when we lost one to an overdose. So we want there to be safety in recovery for our clients. This new initiative is designed to enhance, not replace, our core services, and it rests on 3 strategic pillars. First is overdose prevention and harm reduction. We plan to stock naloxone on every floor of our 62-bed shelter. We want it freely available, and we will provide trainings not only to staff but to clients to use these. Right now, all of our staff get naloxone training when they start. That's part of our onboarding process. But right now, it's just in people's offices, or we have 1 box in the shelter and so on. So having it readily available. Also in our transitional housing, as well as our other housing sites. We aren't just stocking it, but like I said, we want to train. We want to train all of our client-facing staff quarterly on how to recognize an overdose and how to respond to it. Our goal is to distribute 200 naloxone kits annually to those at highest risk. Our second pillar, specialized recovery support. We will implement weekly support groups co-facilitated with a substance use disorder counselor, as well as a peer specialist with lived experience. These groups will focus on that unique intersection of DV and addiction, addressing triggers, relapse prevention, and healthy relationships over a 12-week cycle. So those will be ongoing every 12 weeks. And then lastly, we would like to expand treatment access. Oftentimes it is not always safe for our clients to go to an AA or an NA meeting and so on, because they're worried about being followed by their abuser. So we want to bring those services to our agency. So the most critical piece is our warm handoff protocol. We have a target to provide 70% of identified survivors with an opioid addiction to detox, medicated assistant treatment, or residential services, and to help pay for that through this funding. Critically, these grant funds will help cover treatment for uninsured clients, removing those financial barriers for stabilization. We will also provide transportation and childcare so that a mother or father doesn't have to choose between their recovery and their children's safety. So YCC, is YCC the right place for you to provide these funds? The answer is that we're already doing the work. We just need the formal resources to do it safely and effectively. We have the capacity, and we have 40 years of experience managing complex federal and state grants. I personally manage over $1 million in grants as part of the Victim Assistance Center. By embedding recovery services into domestic violence programming, we can reduce preventable exits and forced exits because we cannot allow the use of opioids or substance on our side. So to give them another place to go for resources rather than having to exit them onto the streets and homelessness or forcing them to go back to their abusers. We want to foster that long-term stability that keeps families safe from violence and addiction. In Weber County, the intersection of trauma and addiction is a lethal one, with domestic violence survivors facing disproportionately higher rates of opioid misuse. At YCC, we have seen that coordinated transitions, the very people we are trying to save, remain at high risk for relapse, further victimization, and even death. We aren't just asking for funding. We're asking for the tools to build a specialized safety net that recognizes addiction as a consequence of trauma, not a barrier to care. Thank you for your commitment to our community's health and safety. We're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Harvey,
I
I'll
know,
go to you.
I know that we are we do fund the YCC with some existing funds now. Do you know what those are?
I feel like it's about 50,000. I'm not.
That's what I'm remembering. It's about 50.
That's kind of, yeah.
But that's not anything to do with
Right.
opioid.
So this is your request, this is for, if I wrote these notes down correctly, for an additional program. Is
Yes,
that
this
correct?
would be a new initiative that we are committed to carry forth as long as the need is there.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all the questions I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So question 65,000, is that going to be one time or are you looking at that? How do you keep the program going?
We have about 70 staff and 40 of those are client facing. What we're really missing is that bridge, how we can have staff that are trained to recognize the signs of opioid use and then have those crucial conversations. Many times clients are afraid to disclose that they're using because they think it'll get them kicked out of shelter or that it will recuse them from services. So it is about a whole mindset shift at YCC where we're trying to help change the way that we provide services because we know that many of our clients are very unique, that they're using these substances because of trauma and because of injuries. And so it's about a whole shift at YCC. Of course, we would love for it to be ongoing, but we need the capital to get the training. We have people that have experience just from other areas of their life, but we don't have anyone that has the substance abuse treatment training that our entire staff needs. So the way that it's set up is we would have an embedded client case manager in each program that would serve as the go-between and like mentor their whole staff and would be the one that anyone with substance abuse issues would be assigned to. So we would have it infused through our sexual assault program, our domestic violence program, our shelter and our community programs. So it would be that first year we would spend most of that time like training, getting the changing our intake paperwork, changing the way that we work with clients and getting those systems set up so that if people needed warm handoffs to other programs. We see that as a need. You know, like she mentions, we've had clients that lost their inside of our shelter that have been found to be using substances, and we know that we need a better way to care for them because what we're doing right now, it just isn't meeting that need.
Thank you for that explanation. Commissioner Bolos.
Yeah, a couple of questions. One, what is your plan or how do you see these funds being separated from your regular operation, your core services? For reporting purposes, we would need you to come back to the commissioners and show how these funds are specifically being spent on that. And it sounds like kind of have a plan, but it's also integrated with your other services. So
because we do manage so many grants, like we have people that are like VOCA that are under a certain grant. So we have a really robust client database. So when clients are identified as being a grant funded client, that they're tagged in the system and then their case manager notes go underneath that. So we're able to pull reports, time and spent on clients at any time. So that's something that we're really good at.
great. Okay. And one other question, do you have other funding you've applied for or that you've been awarded for this particular program that's new?
we have not applied nor been awarded anything for specifically for opioid.
Okay, great, that's all.
That's it, thanks.
Yeah.
So-
Thank you.
Can I just say real quick, so in your application, it kind of specified that you don't allow people there at your facility if they have an abuse. You know, if they're dealing with
Yeah.
an abuse problem.
So
So was it the warm handoff to other programs that you're mainly looking at, other than stocking the naloxone in each floor and stuff?
So we actually, it's a very tricky thing. We have people that we have a partnership with law enforcement, a lethality assessment protocol. So when people are identified high risk, they're immediately brought into shelter. So our rules are that you cannot use substances on shelter property. We know that people are using, and you're not supposed to return under the influence of drugs. But we've had problems where we have someone in shelter that's using, and then someone who's trying to maintain their sobriety is lured back into that because they're, a colleague or a roommate might be using as well. So just because you have an addiction problem does not mean you can't get services. You just can't use on shelter property. And so people are making hard decisions where they're going off of our site onto the streets of Ogden using drugs and then coming back into the shelter under the influence. And so what we're trying to do is people that need help getting that support and how to stop the drugs while they're still maintaining shelter and crisis services can get that support versus like just using out in the streets and coming back to shelter.
So will there be classes actually there at the YCC?
Yes,
Or will
and we
because
have
you did have the women's retreat
Yeah.
that you kind of hand off to
Yeah.
them if somebody's got a problem.
Yes, and we know that we have clients that just can't leave shelter because they're not safe. So we have two-pronged report. One of them will be virtual classes and one of them having classes come into our building. So classes are held like on site and people can also attend them virtually. These will also be like closed groups just for people that have experienced domestic violence. So that part of their confidentiality can be maintained as well.
Great, thank you very much. So, just so you know, as Commissioner Bolos mentioned, this is for everybody, one of the provisions that will be in any type of grant we give is we will ask you to come back probably at a 6-month level. And again, 9 months or 12 months, that's yet to be determined, and just report on the success so that we know
Progress.
going forward what takes place. So I'm, just let you know, if you are successful, there will be a reporting requirement in that. And we've done that. We've allocated a little bit out of that fund, and that's what we've done so far. So,
And our database system will make that
Yeah.
really easy to like pull numbers and then we
Yeah.
can get the stories as well.
and I think you'll see we're kind of numbers folks around here. So show us that money is getting to the end of the roll. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you being with us. Now let's go to the Weaver Davis Misdemeanor Substance Abuse Court. Welcome, come on up.
Thank you so much.
And again, if you just tell us who you are,
I'm Judge Brian Memmott.
that would be great. Thank you, Judge.
Very welcome.
Tyler Talbot, Assistant City Prosecutor for Ogden City.
Nice.
Joan Daly, the coordinator.
Dan Thornhill and with Jim Johnson.
Appreciate it. Time's yours.
All right,
Go ahead.
in the 90s, there was a big political movement, right, to 3 strikes you're out, tough on crime, we're gonna jail everybody that has anything to do with substance abuse charge, right? We have people that were going to prison for life for 3 marijuana uses. What we've learned over the years is that as much as it's a great political tagline, it really doesn't change lives. You can't jail an addiction out of somebody. And so in the 90s, there's a programs and movement that started down in Florida and up in New York called drug courts. And the purpose of drug court was, okay, we know we can't jail the addiction out of somebody. So how do we actually help somebody to overcome an addiction? The recidivism rate right now for addiction, and it's been the same for a long time, is over 60% of people that are in jail or prison for drug and drug-related offenses are going to be back in jail or prison within 1 to 3 years after they're let out. It's closer to 90% when you talk about people that are going to reoffend. Maybe they're not sent back to prison or maybe they're not sent back to jail, but they're reoffending and back in the system, right? And so the system of jailing people isn't helping. Our drug court has been around since 2003. The recidivism rate in our drug court is pretty consistent with what we're seeing across the nation. That's less than 20% of the people that successfully graduate from our drug court are going to reoffend, not go back in jail, right? But are going to reoffend. And so you go from 80% of people that are going to be reoffending down to less than 20%. The reason is is that we turn the process and absolutely turn it on its head. And so the reason I'm involved with drug court, the reason we're all involved with drug court is every one of us have family members and people that we love, that we've seen them fight addiction. It's very personal to all of us. Every one of us are volunteering 100% of our time to the drug court. This is an extra court for me. It's extra work for everybody else. But the purpose of drug court is to get all the people in a room and say, look, what's going on in your life and how do we help you? Not how do we help you for 30 days or 60 days. Drug court for most people is 12 to 18 months successfully complete. And they have to meet certain phases to go from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 to phase 4. And the whole goal of drug court is, we know most people are going to reuse some time in the process, right? We have a gentleman who's been using hardcore drugs since he's almost 60 now. Someone like that isn't going to come into drug court and just flip a switch and never use it again. And so there are consequences if people are using drugs. We understand that it's going to be a process. And the purpose of drug court is, how do we give you the tools that you need so that you can keep yourself free of drugs, right? We can get people through a 30-day program. You can get people through a 60-day program. I can put someone in jail for 6 months, but when they get out, they have the tools they need. And what we're doing in drug court is we put together a comprehensive team of people that are really trying to give people all the tools and resources they need. So drug court is not just, how do we keep you clean? Drug court is, how do we teach you the tools that you need? And drug court participants are a part of their own program. They help us understand what they're going to need to keep with their sobriety. But when someone graduates from drug court, it's not that just that they've demonstrated they can stay free of drugs for a long period of time, because there's regular testing, but they also have to have a job and they have to have maintained employment for a period of time. They have to have been able to get housing and a place to live, right? A lot of them get their Medicaid back, or we're going to help them get their Social Security cards back. So there's a lot of things that we do to make sure when someone graduates from drug court that they're back as a productive member of society. And so, for example, someone in phase 2 of drug court is going to go meet with Causes of Hope, and they're going to go and learn how to budget their money, right? There are things that we do that really help people. And so the reason that we're here asking for money today is that there are felony drug courts in district court right now. And someone that goes to felony drug court, they have to pay any fines for the conviction. That's going to be the same anywhere they go. But through AP&P, they pay $30 a month. Here's what that $30 a month pays for drug court. It pays for all of their drug testing and all of their treatment. So they pay $30 a month. So in 12 to 18 months, they're paying a little over $500. Misdemeanor drug court does not get any of that. Here's what misdemeanor drug court participants pay. We've tried to get AP&P to take our people on, they won't do it. We've tried to get district court to help defray some of the costs, they won't do it. We've gone to the AOC, we've gone to legislatures, we've gone to national, we've gone everywhere we can to try to get this extra money. But here's what happens. So someone that comes into drug court, in our drug court, instead of paying $30 a month for probation, they're paying $50 a month for probation. Instead of paying $30 a month for probation that counts probation and treatment, they're paying $280 a month through Weber Human Services, right? And Weber Human Services is a fantastic organization because they'll give us a sliding scale. And we try to get people onto Medicaid and things to help reduce that cost. But people also have to pay for their drug tests out of pocket, which they don't have to do in felony district court. So in felony district court, drug court, someone's going to pay a little over $500 to get through drug court. In misdemeanor drug court, they're going to pay from $3,800 to $7,600 to go through drug court. It's the exact same program, right? And we're helping people at even a higher rate. Our recidivism rates are better than the district court is right now in Utah because we're so passionate about what we do. And what we're looking for is we're looking funds to just make those match. We don't want the cost to be a barrier. The other reason that really matters is, as you know, drug use is rarely a one symptom issue, right? As we see in Ogden, a lot of people that are repeat offenders in courts are homeless individuals. We cannot help homeless individuals because they frankly cannot afford it. Prosecutors know I cannot recommend someone to go into drug court when they can't afford it. Public defenders know I cannot send someone to drug court, even though it's the best program out there. We cannot send someone to you because they simply can't afford it. And so by the end of drug court, they're going to have a job and they're going to have a place to live and all those things. But for the first, 6 to 12 months as they're getting stabilized, they simply can't afford it. So we're asking for the funds that are going to open up an entire avenue of people that we can help. And what we know our drug court does is it doesn't just help people with addiction, but we're helping with homelessness. As everybody knows, people that are drug offenders often are committing property crimes, right? They're going to be shoplifting. We've got all the homeless encampment, right? We've got all those issues. And so we are trying to solve all those issues, and we know we can. We know our program works. Drug courts have been around for more than 30 years. The numbers speak for themselves. We've been around since 2003. Our numbers speak for themselves. We just want to help the people that need the help the most. So every penny that comes in a drug court is gonna go to help for drug testing, to help for treatment, to help for probation, so that these people that need it most can join the program. Right now, we have kids who are lucky enough to have parents that can afford it. We have people that are lucky enough to have enough money that they can somehow scrape their way through it. We just want drug court in the misdemeanor court to be the same cost as it is in the district court. We just don't want that bar, that money to be the reason that the people who need it most can't come and get it.
So what's the request?
$94,050.
94,000? Does that get you by 1 year or what?
That'll get us more than a year to start with, because you don't just say we're gonna take more people and instantly we have 20
Okay.
people show up at drug court, right? Because the prosecutors have to screen people, because not everyone's, it's not a right fit for everyone. There's not a one fit program out there. There's amazing programs, right? Like SOAR, we love what they do. It's not a one size fits all. So it'll take a while. Honestly, it'd probably take us 6 months to a year if the funding is there to get up to what we can do. We believe, based on the resources we have, we can probably have 25 to 30 people at any one time actively in drug court. So we believe that money would last us more than a year.
Got it.
And again, we hope we don't have to go through it quickly. We're still going after the grants. We're trying to get the legislature to appoint money. So we're actively trying to pursue other ways to get there, but more than a year.
No, I appreciate that. And so thanks for the information. I'm very familiar with drug courts, but I wasn't aware that there was a misdemeanor. When I was in the legislature, I actually funded the felony district drug. I forget the judge's name, but I used to.
Judge Mehmet.
Yeah. And
I wrote that. That's my dad. I wrote the first drug
Okay.
grant involved. I've been involved with this since 1999. That's how involved I've been in drug courts. I think they're an amazing program.
yeah,
Wow.
I've actually attended a number. I got invited to come up and
Fantastic.
attend some of the hearings and talk to some of the people. And I think it's definitely a life changer if it's run right. So, anyway, Commissioner Bolos, I'm gonna go to
I
you.
don't think I have any questions.
Commissioner Harding.
No, I don't, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm familiar, but not gonna comment more than that.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
My son graduated from drug court 18-ish, almost years ago. And so thank you, Dad, because that's such a gift. And also, I lost my train of thought, but anyway, thank you, Dad. That's awesome.
So we definitely appreciate what you do. I mean, obviously this goes a lot farther than just, your court. If we can keep these people, get them back in community. Okay, I'm gonna give you a minute.
Okay, real quick, so Davis and Weaver.
Yes.
Is that right? So
Yes.
you guys, how many do you have from both?
How
Do you have total, and do you know if
many
there's a
people do we have
breakdown?
in misdemeanor drug court?
Uh-huh, and then how many are from Davis County, how many are from Weaver?
One from Davis County, all from Weber County. We're sitting in the Ogden Justice Court,
Okay.
because that's where a majority are gonna come from. Once we can get the funding and can open it up to some people that are on homeless or border homeless, we're gonna be able to add a lot of people. So I'm a judge in both Weber and Davis County, I have them both, and so people that I see that need help, I wanna have them come in. But vast majority, high 90% are people that are in Weber County, and most of them honestly are Ogden itself.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Appreciate what you do, all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, let's go now to our next presenter, I'm seeing this would be the Weber County Sheriff's Office.
I think Krista's done.
Chief, time's yours.
With Zora.
Way.
Sorry for the delay, but we're making sure everybody has their fair chance.
No, of course. And all of those were actually really tough acts to follow, so I'm not nervous at all.
Tell us about your program. I think we know a little bit about it, but
Yeah, absolutely. And I will try to be conscious of time because I know that we're over, but so mostly I'll just do a quick overview
Sure.
and then just any questions that you guys have. So the ask that we have applied for is to be able to reestablish a therapeutic community program. If you all remember, we did have the RISE
right.
program operating
Uh-huh.
for about a year out of the Weber County Jail, and that unfortunately closed at the end of October due to funding ending. So this ask would essentially reestablish a very similar program, whether we called it the exact same thing. It would be a therapeutic community model, substance use treatment program that would have a dedicated housing section. Ideally, we would actually hope with the staffing that we asked for in this application to be able to expand what we were doing for men. and have another dedicated section that we could bring women in as well. Both the staffing that we're asking for would allow for that. Let's see, sorry, I totally just blinked. In the way that we structured the ask, I asked for kind of a grand total with the pie in the sky dream of 3 years worth of funding, but then broke that out into year by year, just depending on what this body decides. As far as sustainability, because I know you mentioned that that is a piece that is important of how do we not just end the program again in 1 to 3 years when the funding runs out. Our primary plan at this point would be to utilize the 1115 Medicaid Justice Waiver. We went live with that in our facility March 1st. We have started to do applications for individuals that are currently utilizing our reentry support services program and our MAT programs, getting those individuals enrolled in Medicaid for qualifying individuals. And as we kind of work out those kinks and actually start getting this expanded facility-wide, we anticipate that being able to, if not be the entirety of the source of funding, at least significantly contribute to the ongoing sustainability of the program. The way, just to kind of talk a little bit more about our model, the way that we had structured RISE before was a minimum 90-day program. So similar to SOAR, individuals could stay in the program and actually work their way into a mentorship role beyond the 90 days. If they were still incarcerated in our facility, we didn't just automatically take them back to general population, but it was a minimum 90 days to be able to graduate that program. It is therapeutic community structure, which means that in addition to all of the actual interventions, both one-on-one and group therapy and case management that they receive, and peer support in this model as well, the entire way that the housing unit is structured is to reinforce the things that they're learning on a 24/7 basis. And I'm going to stop just because, again, I'm conscious of time, so I want to let you guys ask the questions that you're interested in having.
Thank you. Well, I think this really follows the model of the RISE program, correct?
Yes.
And I heard nothing but good news reports back on the RISE program. And I know that I had conversations with Commissioner Bowles. So with that, Commissioner Bowles, questions or comments?
No, I'm familiar with that. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Remind me, well, tell me again what the ask is. Just
$1,736,244.
Yeah.
So
3 years,
for 3 years.
For 3 years.
So that's about, oh,
578 a year.
yeah.
okay.
So my question is, would you consider taking partial funding?
Yes.
And if so, what could you take and make work?
So yes, absolutely. And whether that's from a number of years standpoint or potential staffing, I think the 2 therapists and the 2 case managers are absolutely critical in order, just even from our own lessons learned from the RISE program.
2 caseworkers?
2 case managers and 2 therapists.
Okay.
The peer support, we have potentially a couple of different options for how we could either still try to incorporate peer support through other sources or potentially even look at a hybrid case management peer support role. So while I do think that the best program, of course, model would come from having all 3 of those roles separately, so it would be 6 total positions that this is funding. If this body cannot fund that full amount, I would absolutely take partial and look for continue to look for other sources for
Great. Okay.
building that out.
And it's a total difference in the reentry program.
Yeah, so our reentry success services program is focused, it does not do any treatment, where this does provide that ongoing treatment through their incarceration. So the 2 can be very complementary in that our reentry success program is helping to have clients plan for and then connect to through warm handoffs resources in the community. But it is all case management, with some limited peer support, for the substance use and recovery component. But no actual treatment interventions being provided where this would provide that, individual and group, clinical intervention, as well.
Got it. So I have a question. I'm assuming you've asked the legislature for funding on this, or have you not?
Not on this, mainly because we needed to prioritize, funding for a reentry program.
They had originally applied.
All
for
right, so
both.
that's the reason it was left
Yeah,
off
they
the.
had applications for both.
Yeah,
and
we'd
the
actually put
legislature
into
for the
this
other.
body, for both programs, and pursued, and as you know, secured, legislative funding for our reentry program.
Right,
Ultimately, at the end of the day, as hard as that was, if we
Yeah.
needed to look at dollars that we were asking for, our reentry program is kind of the cornerstone for all the other social service programs that we can provide in the facility. And so, we did only approach the legislature for the reentry.
okay, well, we may have we're looking at an additional pot of money from a private sector that we'll be working on in the next 30 to 60 days, tied in with a potential mental health facility out there. So anyway, there's a chance that may come about as well, a chance.
And you
Okay.
could look at splitting it in half, like instead of having 6, 3. And put, I mean,
Three would
you're
probably be
looking
the
at 6.
bare minimum. So in our lessons learned from RISE, we had designed that with one case manager. We did not have formal peer support, as part of that. And then we partnered with Weaver Human Services, for that program. So we had one full-time therapist, and then they supplemented with, several part-time therapists that were coming to co-facilitate groups. But especially as we look at, utilizing the 1115 Medicaid waiver for ongoing, sustainability funds, they needed to then, and we would need to make sure that we were compliant with Medicaid standards, which, once you hit about 12 people in a group, requires or co-facilitation. And so between running groups and then still being able to provide individual therapy to that many clients, I think the 2 therapists full-time would be the absolute minimum. We could maybe operate with one case manager again, but again, if we were gonna look at trying to fund this, and have it be a possibility to have it be available not just to men, but also to women, I think the 2 case managers, would be needed. So going from 6 to 4 would be preferred over 6 to 3, but I am also, beggars can't be choosers, so of course I'll be grateful for anything that you.
Appreciate you being with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you guys.
Commissioners, just to let you know, we just received word that settlement with 6 additional
Good.
defendants for 97 million will be coming through. That's gonna be spread out throughout the country. So I don't know what our
97 million doesn't come here. Let's be clear.
Well, I put in a
We're gonna get about $2
Yeah, 97, we might get 1.0%.
Yeah, I made a phone call, so hopefully it'll go through. But,
Okay, good.
no, but a portion of that will be allocated to Utah.
No, that's good. No, under our normal split.
Yes, the 50.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
See
you again.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Oh, man, they work. See a lot of programs.
Did I like all of them?
The first one was in Salt Lake, named Judge. I can see his face. Yeah, he started the first one in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And then my dad started the one in Davis County. Oh, man. This is anything from the second. Walker.
They don't.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah.
It takes some walkers to help you.
That's where they're thinking that
Thanks.
you're there.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks. I just really appreciate it. Good job.
Are you a judge on the court?
No, but-
You're on the court's called, one on like Grant 26.
One, you,
But-
one.
Yeah.
Like, are you-
Yeah.
Like, it's the district court, right?
It's something that you've got to want to.
I'm not.
I'll need to be.
What is it?
They're good enough that they're
Yeah,
gonna.
they're-
It's a, Nope, never. So I'm not sure what they're next.
He wants to be able to split it. Our board mission is not like, don't know, family states. Great. It's okay.
Yeah, it's off.
We tried.
Too loud and then I just. Everybody out there. Great, good job. Nice job. Wow.
Welcome. Sorry for the delay. For anybody that may be online, this is our 1:30 discussion on a request to rezone a 14-acre parcel of land from agricultural A1 to R115 zone located at 3300 west, 2550 south. Mr. Felix Leverano, Charlie with us. There's Charlie down at the end. Sean Wilkinson and Gary Myers are all here. Felix, let's start with you.
Yes, thank you, guys. We have this proposal where they're looking to change the zoning on this 14-acre piece, and it's around 2550 south and 3500 west. I have the connectivity plan for y'all to get a little more familiar with this proposal. We after a couple of rounds with the planning commissioners, I think we came up with a pretty good design. So the connectivity plan I would like I'm providing to you guys to see what the proposal looks like with how it matches with the surrounding general plan. So you've got different features on the general plan map. You know, you've got your road widening, right-of-way widths. You've got you've also got pathway alignments. And so that where we've put the development, this 39-acre development, 39 lot development, is kind of in this vacant area where it's a kind of a wet area. But
Kind of a wet area?
yeah, there are some wetlands, but the developer was able to complete a wetlands delineation, and that's been accepted by the Army Corps.
Okay.
And so this plan is in line with that. But let me bring up on the screen the latest plan that we've presented and was approved with the planning commissioners. So it looks a little bit different than what you see there, but what I'm trying to get here is here we go.
I'm assuming this was the original request.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna bring it in a little closer if I can. So taking a look at 2550 south, that is proposed to become a 100-foot right of way. So we've made sure, this image on the screen here, we made sure that this plan shows the appropriate right of way dedication along their frontage. And you'll notice that there's a 10-foot pathway, which is that bold dashed line. And that's where you would have the pathway. You also have a pathway right of way kind of in the mid block area. And there's the 60-foot rights of way within the development. And let's see here. Let's see if I can scroll up a little bit. So what the developer is planning to do here is once they come to the platting phase, they're going to do it in 2 phases. There's some limitations that are involved. So the phasing makes sense because you'll notice that there's a single access in from 2550. So that makes some limitations on how many lots they can have off of a single access, which is 30. So what they'll do is they'll create the phasing plan, they'll record lots, and they'll be able to plat these lots. But once they hit that 30 lot threshold, they have to provide a secondary egress out.
So under current code, they can have 30, no more.
They can have 30.
Off of single access.
That's correct.
Okay. Got it.
Until they have that secondary egress.
Got it.
And so their plan, if I can. Okay, So their plan as is you can see on the north side of this property where they have proposed 20-foot all-weather emergency access and utility, sewer and secondary water easement.
Can you zoom?
Yes.
Try to do it.
This is their current plan,
That's their current
and
plan.
that current plan is how many lots?
That's 40 or 39 is the maximum number of lots, but 30 is the maximum number of
Got
lots
it.
before the.
How big's the acreage?
So 14 acres.
What's the lot averaging?
It's 2.9 units per acre.
And does it comply with our current master plan?
Yes. Yep, it does. And I should mention also that, so Mr. Scott Wynn, he's been in the business for a while. His family, they do construction of patio homes.
Okay,
So that's their plan for this entire single family
patio homes.
patio homes.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about that easement then to the north. What good does that do?
So that easement to the north, it's.
You said
meant-
emergency.
Yeah, it's meant to fulfill that emergency access. And
Okay.
so what that would allow them to do is finish the development with phase 3.
Where does that go to?
It connects up to 3500 west.
It does go all the way through?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, so that's their plan so far.
Okay.
Let's see, yeah, the zoning request would be from A1 zoning, changing it to the R115 zoning. Is there anything else I'm missing? I think that pretty well covers it.
Okay. So Charlie, question for you.
Mhm.
Discussion we've had in the past is that the A1 zone is what we have right now. The R115 is a zone that we allow if certain parameters are met by the developer that show a benefit to the community/county.
Yeah.
Tell me about the benefit that is willing to be achieved if this was approved.
Always smaller with the smaller pieces of property, isn't it? As far as those benefits go.
Right.
The applicant is volunteering for the 7,500 per dwelling unit park donation that we've been asking of other developers. The other thing that they're doing is they're showing an east-west trail corridor. They're also showing a north-south trail corridor within. So they've got an existing drainage easement on the east side of the property.
You're there.
And so they're widening that drainage easement to also allow it to be a trail corridor easement. And we're asking them to do that because West Haven has a trail planned along that slough that's right there. Now, our master plan shows that trail along the canal, which you can see the corner of it actually runs here. And so West Haven's going through their master plan update, so I think they're gonna realign it with the canal instead of here. But we're gonna get the easement just in case either way. The other thing with these smaller ones, it's really important to have those street connections that wouldn't otherwise be there. It'd be very common for a development like this to have a closed loop. And they're showing 2 connections to the north, 2 connections, one to the west, one to the east, and then 1 connection to 3,500. And that's so that the parcels on the west side, should they choose to develop, can do so a little bit easier than others. And then the parcels to the north could do so as well. Any other benefits that I'm missing?
I think that's it. We have the development agreement. It does spell out these in greater detail as well as have, street trees and, so landscaping along those pathway corridors.
And then installed pathway on 2550 as well. So I think one of those installed pathways we might want to defer because there's not a lot of development in that area. But we certainly want to see if we can secure the funds for it.
I think as we've talked before, I'm kind of headed toward getting money donated for future trails, connectivity, sometimes even more than what we see right now for the parks at some point in time.
Yeah. We may even be able to work with Mr. Wynn on extending the pathway from the subdivision to the 3,500 west intersection. I'm just thinking about this right now. The reason I say that is because from 3500 west westward, we're rebuilding 2550.
Right,
Building a trail within that rebuild.
right.
So it'd be kind of cool this would just connect right into that. We'd have to work with West Haven and developers on the east to try and tie that into something, but
Well, I'd like you to look at that.
it's worth an ask. Yeah.
So Gary,
Yeah,
talk to me about traffic. I mean, you know, my main concern is always traffic on some of these streets,
this one's gonna be
especially with
interesting.
single access.
Yeah. Yeah, no, each of your lots is, according to the National Trip Generation Manual, is about 8 to 10 trips per day is what these single family homes put out. So
Even a patio home?
patio homes, it doesn't, I mean, it's probably a little less, Commissioner. I mean, if
That's
I'm
what I
being
was
honest,
thinking.
they're generally a little less. They don't have kids they're running to soccer games usually or picking up from school, that kind of thing. But surprisingly enough, it does. I'd have to look what it is for a patio home.
Well, I just, if, I like the idea of a patio home. Sorry, Mr. Chair, if I should. I like the idea of a patio home and some of those things. I just want to be careful because I think that's a much needed thing in our area and I can get on board and maybe could relax or anything to strengthen so long as they remained a patio home and didn't turn into something else.
Okay,
I think my bigger concern would be the wetlands
Yeah.
and the drainage on the property.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's been said he has a delineation report, which is good, which identifies them. Do we have a mitigation report for those wetlands? So you've got a mitigation on,
I've submitted that to the Corps and with cross sections and that's all been approved, so.
okay,
It's only, I think it was 0.06 of an acre, actually 3 combined pieces that, equal 0.06, so it's very, very minimal. We're just set to fill them.
Why don't you just take it? Put in a little pool, they do the water.
Yeah. Well, we've actually put the pieces up in the detention basin up there, and we're actually gonna kind of make it a retention basin to retain a little bit of water to maintain a little bit of that wetland.
Yeah.
Landscape there.
and
Right.
we can go into more detail about that. The other thing too is in this area, historically, well, and I may be getting into the weeds too much a little bit, commissioners, so we can go through a lot of this. Did I see storm drain detention on it?
Yes, intention in the front.
Is that what that lot is there?
That big piece on the.
Okay.
that's a retention.
Oh,
I love that it's
okay.
first. It's in the first phase too.
Fantastic. And then on that access back there, 20 feet doesn't really work for my department and our cross sections for two-way traffic. Are you going to block that with some sort of crash gate or something so it keeps residents from utilizing that for
Yeah,
everyday
it
access?
would just be an easement for that purpose only, so I mean, it would still be private property just for emergency vehicles only.
Okay,
I'm still working with those landowners on figuring out the ins and outs of that, and so.
that was my follow-up question, is if we have an access agreement with them
I
to
don't have an
utilize them?
access agreement yet, I'm actually meeting with them right after this meeting, actually, the guy's
Okay.
a CPA, so he's been terribly busy, so.
Busy man, especially this time of year.
Indeed.
And it was going to be asphalt, is that correct?
I was under the impression of just like a road base. But I haven't gotten into too much detail with the county or,
Yeah,
I don't know if fire department is involved.
still early on, yeah, so. Just off the top, I've got a few different things I've noted that we can discuss later, but yeah. I think with the posted speed, Commissioner, to go back to your original question on
Right.
ingress, egress of traffic. Posted speed out there, I believe, is 40 or 45. Is it 40? 40 was my first thought. Which you've got some really wide shoulders, you've got a
Yeah.
two-way left turn lane into that, that's fantastic. I think we'll be okay with.
Yeah,
with that.
2550 is fair. Is that a 100-foot easement now? Or an 80?
Our section west of 3500 is 80 feet.
Okay,
I'm not sure what West Haven obtained for
yeah,
east of there,
I'm not sure.
so, but yeah,
Okay.
we do have 80 feet anticipated. Our
Great.
future project will widen it to 48 feet of asphalt as well west of there, so.
Nice. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else? Commissioner Bowles,
Yeah, a
questions,
couple of
comments?
questions. So Commissioner Harvey asked my question about it following the general plan, so I'm okay there.
Mhm.
My next question is it contiguous to West Haven? And if it is, Why aren't they annexing in West Haven?
Well,
I think
it
we
is
know why.
close.
It's not quite though, the
it's
south side
not-
of the road is not,
It's not contiguous.
but east of the canal
It
is,
is. Yeah,
okay,
there's a little gap in there.
okay. Cause I mean, it's contiguous then. They ought to just be gobbling up those pieces, I would think.
One would think.
I'm not sure what's gonna come out of their general plan update or their master plan update. I'm hoping it's something that's a little bit more reflective of what our master plan shows.
Have they involved you at all in that?
We do talk, quarterly. We haven't been super involved in the creation of the plan, but we do get together and just compare notes on what's happening on our boundaries. One thing that I know a lot of landowners that are on the periphery are really struggling with is these areas, they're still currently asking for 1 acre lots. And we're giving 15,000 square foot average. And so it's hard to convince them to annex into the city. Otherwise, we would be all about doing that.
I mean, okay. With legacy going up through there, just the 1 acre lots don't make sense anymore.
No.
Either it's duplicate sewer and water infrastructure. Right, but we have that, so. All right, I was just wondering if you were in talks with them and part of that general plan revision.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that answers my questions.
Yeah, Jordan, we had a discussion this morning, since we're talking about lot size on Weaver Basin. And it's pretty much proven now, in the case studies that we've done over the past number of years. Two possible solutions to making sure we manage our water better. Higher density, smaller lots, which means we water less grass, and conservation. Those two factors are the biggest input into saving water. And so 1 acre lots are probably some of the worst, because as we know, go out and see these 1 acre lots and they're all watering their grass. Yeah, so basically the water used inside the house for culinary is a drop in the bucket, literally.
Unless they put miniature cows on the back half
Well-
of those 1 acre lots.
Yeah, but the miniature cows still drink a little water.
Well, that it would, but not as much as grass takes.
No. True. All right, so Gary, just two things. I think you brought them both up that I'd like to see resolution. Obviously, we need a mitigation plan.
Yep.
From the Corps. Let's not get the Corps involved with us.
Exactly.
Those problems should be, I think that easement needs to be solved,
Yes.
i.e., recorded, whether it's an easement, whether it's purchased.
Yep.
And I'd like your input, whether you think 20 feet's enough or.
Yeah,
For an emergency, you're probably all right.
for an emergency, we probably ought to just chat with Dave Reed too, because depending on which engine is dispatched out
Yeah.
there to an issue,
Yeah,
it may be tight turning from a 20-foot into that
yeah,
subdivision. We'll have to look.
I would check with that. That's a pretty tight
It is.
for one of those heavy, yeah.
Yeah,
You mean which station?
yeah. Which station?
I
and
mean,
what-
there's one right through the block.
There is, but I'm not sure which. When I say vehicles, I'm talking about the fire
The
engines.
length of
fire
the
engines.
vehicles
Yeah,
in that particular station, so that would be the station.
yep.
Yeah,
That's correct.
can they get the fire, the issue is, can they get the fire truck that comes up that way?
And I'm sure Reeves could run some programs on it to show us
Yeah.
what the wheel tracking looks like. I just want to make sure that the 20-foot, he can swing out wide enough to
Sure.
make that turning.
Yeah.
Good point. Anything else? Felix?
No, I'll be preparing for the next county commission meeting and maybe not next week, but when we're ready and we have we've addressed those.
Yeah, so let's make sure we get those questions answered
Yes.
before we put it on the agenda.
Will do.
Okay,
I'm good.
okay,
Good.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Felix, can you get me his?
We are now at our
1:45.
1:45. No, we're actually, yeah,
Sorry.
1:45. Thank you. I thought we were 15
It's
minutes.
all
You
my
guys
fault.
just-
You know, I'm a long talker.
If you guys just vote yes, we'll be done.
Discussion regarding Ogden Valley Incorporation city date. What the heck we have there? I thought that was already incorporated.
Nope.
No?
So they were incorporated, the letter of incorporation came January 2nd.
Right.
They have to be January 1st to be a taxing entity for this year. So this is why this has even been come up.
That's a shame.
Yeah, but it doesn't
minute.
mean so they've been contacting us wondering why they're not getting a disbursement.
Do they know this is their issue?
Yeah.
Yes.
They know this,
Everywhere.
this is an issue.
Recognized it, yes.
Well,
it's
the lieutenant governor's issue.
Yeah. Well, we knew it was pushing within
So,
hours when we
yes.
sent the paperwork to the LG's
Yeah,
office.
so they filed initial paperwork on December 17th, missed a document,
Right.
had to refile by December 22nd. And then the LG's office had 10 days, which ended up being January 2nd. So the LG's office issued the certificate of incorporation when they were supposed to, but it came on the 2nd, and then they did not file, Ogden Valley City did not record until the 9th of
The 9th?
January. January 9th.
Didn't they come in on the 5th?
They came in on the 5th with
Yeah.
some incorrect documents.
So officially it was the 9th.
Officially, the 9th, according to state statute, they are not considered incorporated until they record. And they recorded on the 9th.
Okay.
And so they did not become officially a city as far as being
A
an
taxing
entity. They are not considered a taxing entity
Till the 9th.
for the whole year of 2026.
But they are entitled to their share of the money as of the day of incorporation.
Prorated.
So,
Okay.
and you guys were, I think, intending to give it to them.
So we'll still collect it.
We'll still collect it, but to municipal services.
Yeah, just the
Municipal-
municipal services, they can't set up.
Better.
We can't set them up as their own taxing entity. We'll still collect it through municipal services. So it won't come out of our taxes that we do. We'll give it to municipal services and then they will have to cut a check to Ogden Valley.
So the tax rate, I just want to be clear on that. The tax rate won't be a tax rate that they impose.
Exactly, it's our rate.
So this is our rate,
Be probably less than they.
which is no way they're gonna.
They were gonna do truth in taxation this summer.
Yeah.
They cannot.
So are they aware of this?
Yes.
Yes.
Tried to tell them, and they've
No, I got a
tried
call
to
from them
tell them
Saturday
that
afternoon.
they're arguing with us.
Well, and
Linnell and I talked to the tax commission. There's no mechanism for them to go through truth and taxation because they're not
They
a
don't have a
taxing
tax.
entity,
Because the taxing entity have to be as of January 1st,
right?
Correct.
correct?
Right.
But the personal property, they somehow were able to file, we have personal property tax codes for them before the first.
You're saying they could get money from personal property? I mean, as a taxing entity?
The state tax commission gave it to them.
No, I don't think so, from what they told us, because that's hand in hand with the real.
Yeah, they.
Yeah, how can they do?
So Monica told me today, because I was asking her about it, and she said she already has their codes from the state tax commission for personal property.
Well,
Well,
that's it. I don't know how they do that.
it's Linnell that has to disperse it and they
Yeah.
have to be a taxing entity for 2026 and they're not.
There's no way we could do that, disperse it to them.
So it's
Personal
what,
property has to be tied to it. It can't be separate.
what our question, our proposal is to the commission is, Chris, I think we need to come up with an agreement or a resolution.
Can we back up
to-
1 second before? So here's the challenge that we have. So if we don't do what we're proposing, then it's really tough for us to go through each parcel and figure out how much of that is required. It's gonna be a lot of man hours on all of our sites to try to get them the portion of the municipal services prorated to the 9th, right? It's gonna be really tough for us to do that. Because we have to go through each of the individual parcels, kind of calculate what their value would have been. And so that's really where we're trying to figure out the easiest, simplest way for this to happen. And so that's
Yeah, when we looked at it, it seemed the simplest, given how close the dates were to January first, just to consider it as if it pretend like a pseudo taxing area and disperse the amount for the entire year.
Rather, so the question is, do we give it from the first, give them the full year, do we prorate from the ninth?
The 9th. And if we set up this taxing entity now, pseudo, we don't have to do it again, it's all, the groundwork is laid. There's less confusion as to what they're actually getting. And in IT can do it. I thought Lisa was gonna be here. But we went through with IT also to try to figure out what the lift would be for those kind of 9 days. And it seems like we'd spend a lot of man hours trying to do it. So
I don't
plus,
see a problem with
plus
that.
the other thing that I thought of, or unless Chris, you want to take
No,
credit for it.
no, it was your idea. I think it's a great idea.
So the other thing that I thought of is if you do it in a resolution and we recognize craft whatever the resolution is going to be, that there was this kind of challenge and paperwork over the holidays. And as the magnanimous, I don't know the right term, commissioners, you've solved the problem through resolution by creating this. Like it gives some goodwill to those in the valley that say, yeah, we're doing what's right, even though there's something here that we can make it much tougher. And it would bring some goodwill.
I think we just formalize the distribution through a resolution, cite the code. But I also, what do you think about adding language to the resolution that says, if they want to go through truth and taxation next year, that's up to them. I don't see that as our issue.
Oh,
No.
because if they wanted it this year, we would have.
That's not our issue.
No.
We're not doing it and they can't go through it because they're not a taxing entity. They
But how-
have no option and
they're-
they
They would have to work with the state, not
But
us.
how can they, I don't think state code is gonna let them
Yeah.
They
yeah.
can't.
hold the truth in taxation. And why would, I mean, by the time they go through the process and do the advertisements and the mail out, why would they spend that if they know that they can't, it's not gonna do them any good?
Well, I don't think they fully understand, and so they've been calling our staff, asking us what the process is, and I wanna just recommend to staff that we remove ourselves from that portion of it, because it's really not, we don't have a say anymore.
No.
They can work with the state as to whatever the requirements are.
And their attorneys.
Correct. And then we would just, in the resolution, put forth that we're gonna distribute the entire amount for 2026.
I'm happy with that, the 9 days to me,
It
but
doesn't
it
matter.
needs, the truth in taxation needs to be their issue, not ours.
And separated.
Have they
And
asked
I
for
think
us
that's a
to
great
put
idea.
truth and
Well,
taxation?
no,
They don't know that they would.
They're planning on it, but the problem is that in order to hold truth in taxation,
Sure.
you have to have a certified tax rate.
Right.
And they don't have a certified tax rate, so they can't raise it.
Sure, I was asking if they had asked us to hold one in their.
Oh,
behalf.
no.
They keep calling us, asking us about, they wanna know what their current status is.
Okay.
And so they're not contacting the right entities, and so I think we'd just be directing them
Yeah.
kindly. We'll
Sure.
just-
I emailed
That's
them
what I thought you were
today
asking.
and told them,
There's
you
no-
cannot do it. Your budget is set.
Yeah,
It's our budget.
which is our
You are
budget.
getting your portion of our
Our budget.
budget and that's it. You can't do, I told them, you can't do truth and taxation till July of 27, which will be fiscal year 28. They keep talking, they want to do it this summer. They can't. Steph and I talked to the tax commission and they said,
No, I think
They're not an entity, they don't have. a
that's pretty
certified
clear in
tax
code. I
rate.
mean,
They don't have a certified
I must-
budget, they can't raise something they don't have.
no,
And they can't raise their portion of ours.
And we can't fix it for them.
We
That's
can't.
correct. I
No.
think that's the important thing to
We-
put out there, is that that's not us who gets to control that.
no. And it's not our fault that,
It's not.
there'll be some things in the paper that will
But
come
you're
back.
you're fixing it with this resolution. Above and beyond what's required, you're doing the best that you can, I think, with this, and so it sends it. I mean, we're sorry, but you can't.
But, I mean, unless we were to do a truth in taxation for the following year
On their behalf.
on their behalf.
Well,
That's
in
what
our-
Which I don't think we're gonna do.
But you could only do it,
There's no
would
way.
you have to do it on the entire county or only on?
Well, we'd have to,
Municipal services.
we'd have to do it from, which is basically west,
and.
south,
Yeah.
and east,
Correct.
which I don't see us doing.
And I don't even know if we would have the legal authority.
I don't know
to,
if-
because we'd be divested of jurisdiction, so maybe it's just frozen in time until you actually come.
Yeah,
and
how
have
could
that
you-
full year
Whether it is or
cycle.
not, I
know.
don't think we're interested in that.
Hmm.
I said whether it's an option or not.
No,
don't
I-
think We're interested in that.
To me, I don't think we're prepared to raise taxes for the.
I don't understand because I thought it was supposed to be cheaper if they
Yeah.
were their own city. I'm still confused.
They'll still have other funding options. They can approach you with different things. They can do sales tax anticipation notes, things like that.
They didn't have to borrow. Bottom line, they don't have to borrow.
And they're looking at that. They said today that they were looking at another 10.
It's hard for those who've been elected there. It's, but those who know, but this is just, have we been neglectful? This is so important, this question. Is there anything that we have done, whether on purpose or ignorantly, that has caused this? No.
But I could say to their defense that I think they tried to do everything they could to get it in on time. I think they did.
Sure.
But that December 22nd, pushing it to January 2nd, I think that the Lieutenant Governor's office, they should have been very careful when they looked at that. They didn't have to date it January 2nd. They could have dated it December 31st. Didn't have to be 10
But they
days
still,
after.
but again, according to the tax commission, they still are not recognized as an entity until recording.
Recorded.
And they didn't record it until the 9th.
Yeah.
And that was up to them to record, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Just so you know, it's
I'm
not
good with the
coming
8 days.
through.
I'll give the 8-day gift.
You what?
I'll give the 8-day gift.
You'll give the 8 days. Okay, then we'll then charge them for the 9th day. All right, no, I think if that's the main question, I don't mind doing a resolution, but I think we want to be very clear that truth and taxation, any of these issues is their issue, not us. We're gonna follow state code, and here's what it says. You want a taxing entity, so basically whatever our municipal service tax is for west, north, and now east that you would have been excluded in is what you get paid.
Correct.
Are we statutorily obligated to do this resolution?
No, I think it just sets the narrative. It puts it in, puts what the truth is out there. Cause I think people are gonna assume things, why things are happening.
I just want to be clear, this body has done everything we can to help facilitate their success. This is another example of this. We are in no way standing in the way of their failure. And if it were couched another way, those people would be ignorant and untruthful and they wouldn't know.
That's a great question. That's why I think a resolution is a great way to do it, because it's another evidence of you being helpful, not being an obstacle. Because the resolution is, you're going above and beyond. Again, sure.
It sure isn't couched like that. And it's too bad that a few of them torpedo so many there's some great people up there that are being torched by some people who are just doing wrong.
Yeah, and that's I don't mind the resolution, but it'll be couched that, well, now the commission is trying to cover because they caused this. And that'll be the word on the street, is the county caused this, so now they want to do a resolution to cover their backside.
Would you like me to put together a draft and then just circulate it individually or put it on a work session for Monday? Sure.
A draft for the resolution?
Yeah, and then we'll just put it on for action for a week from tomorrow.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
It'll-
But I would make sure, I'd like you to get through to the mayor and the city council people up there, explain to them what the facts are. We're not required to do this resolution.
Sure.
And I want them to be proactive in communication that this was of no fault, no cause by the county. This was because they're recording the process that they're in charge of, not the county, fell through. Never got completed on the correct dates. Not our fault.
Just so you know, so the bottom line is now it will be an expense out of municipal services instead of coming out of the tax money. We'll get paid, the county will be paid for the whole thing. We'll expense it out of the municipal services to them. Yeah.
And then what if there's not enough in municipal service to cover our contracts with our interlocals?
We can withhold the money that they owe us instead of paying them.
That's true.
Well,
That is in the
This year we can
legislation
do
though.
that.
I did read that today.
Chair, that would be my vote.
well, that's in the interlocal. We have the right to withhold that.
That would be
Yeah,
my-
and it says that in the statute. I really
That's
read
my
that this morning.
I don't, yeah.
That
we
instead of
definitely
sending
can
them
do that.
money, we withhold what they owe to us, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Put one more element
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, it doesn't change the interlocals.
Right, no, they still need to pay us what they've agreed to.
Yeah. So it doesn't change that. It's just a matter of how much tax they're gonna get and when they're gonna get it.
Mhm.
And they're not gonna hold the truth in taxation because they can't.
Do you have any idea how much they're going to pay us in interlocals? In a year?
Roads is around $2 million.
Couple $1 million for roads.
They're only looking at getting about 500 and something thousand.
600,000 in taxes.
So
For the
even
year.
if we withhold the whole thing towards ours, I mean, that's why they're scrambling. They
too
were
bad.
planning on doing
I'm
more.
sorry to hear
That's- I know, it's too bad.
Maybe they should have thought through that process. Or not sold a bill of goods.
Do we need
Or
to
you
have
to bill the people who've been putting out false information.
do we need to have a conversation with them and stop the asphalt work this summer and say there's not money to pay for it?
Maybe
Well-
it's worth it. Maybe they ought to know where they stand before they start using all the services. They might.
I mean, they can go out and get a loan, I guess, and cover the balance. if
Well,
they
I think,
want to.
I think we should have that conversation. Look,
Absolutely.
you know, we've got a 2 million roads contract. Let's say $1 million of that was gonna be spent on asphalt. Do you want us, you know,
I think that's a fair conversation.
but
We can-
I
Given the
don't think we go
circumstances
ahead and
now.
plan on that asphalt till we get, again, something in writing from them that says, go ahead. And oh, by the way, you're gonna have a $2 million bill with 500,000 income. By my calculations, that's about $1.5 million short.
You're doing pretty good with
Thank
your
you.
math.
Well,
So
yeah.
maybe we don't disperse a dime to them. We just put it towards their bill to
Probably
us.
the best way to do it, but yeah, I do think it's fair for Sean to sit down with.
Oh,
them,
no.
Let them know. Because they may change their minds based on their circumstance for this
And-
year.
And some of it, the majority of their funding was not
Sales
coming
tax.
from property, it was sales tax.
Yeah,
And we
it's-
still don't have any information on that,
Mhm.
because they haven't received a sales
That's
tax
true.
distribution yet, so.
And didn't they project the tax commission, wasn't it like 1.2 million from sales tax?
No, they didn't project,
I was thinking last fall they did,
well,
but
the 1.2 would be brick and mortar, yes. But then that didn't include any.
that was with
online
the point of
sales.
or the population part too.
Yeah.
500,000 to 600,000 is strictly property tax.
That's property tax, but we still don't have a firm number on sales tax, do we?
No, we don't. And like I said, the distribution that I received in March did not have anything to Ogden Valley City on it yet, so.
Okay.
They're not
Well,
on the reports.
Sean, we should have that discussion. You know, they're gonna have what's the contract city price up there for them? 500,000-600,000, isn't it? For the sheriff's office?
Sure.
It's-
Valley.
So, yeah,
Okay.
All the lifts.
that's gonna be up to them to solve.
That's not Ogden Valley, is it?
Maybe they cut back the sheriff.
By the mountains.
Okay, Chris, anything else?
Nope, I'll get to work on that.
Well, thank you for that good piece of information.
We'll see you in a few more minutes. Well,
Now if we can just get them to quit emailing.
or leaving messages.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. They're trying to figure it out.
They're
It's,
doing their best.
they are, we're trying to help them. We're
Yeah,
trying to
thank
be there
you.
to support them.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. All right, I'm gonna take a motion to leave work session.
So moved.
You've got one,
All those in
you got
favor?
one more item.
You got.
Oh, wait, hold on,
Sorry.
sorry. I'm ahead of myself.
I withdraw
I'm not,
An hour
I'm not
behind
gonna
now.
take a motion. How come I'm one ahead of myself here? Okay, quarterly
Quarterly budget changes.
budget changes, yeah, here we go.
So this is the majority of, I came to you on March 2nd, with most of these that are listed on the bottom for the 2025 carryover. We discussed all of those, at that time, but we never had a public hearing on it, because we do those quarterly. So the public hearing that we have scheduled in the commission meeting tomorrow will cover all of those as well as these additional 5 items at the top, which we have also, I've also presented to you in commission meetings or work sessions.
Okay,
So if you do have any questions on any of those items.
questions, commissioners?
No.
This is pretty standard what we see for budget adjustments, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
this,
mean,
this first quarter is
Yeah.
really big,
Yeah.
because
All
all
the
the projects
carryovers.
that we didn't get finished in 2025 carried over, and that hits our budget.
got it.
The only other item that I need to add to this list has to do with the sheriff's office budget change that they brought to you last week.
Yes,
Uh,
we're very much aware.
we had talked about, they presented two different options. One was adding 6 additional officers for the contract cities and reducing the general fund deputy number to 28.
Hold on, not reducing the numbers, 28. Shifting the funding.
Reallocating the
Yes.
expense.
I
Yeah,
want to clarify that.
yes, shifting the
Shift.
general fund, yes, that's a,
It's a
thank you.
shift.
Shifting the general fund number from 32 deputies to
To
28.
28. Yeah.
And they also presented 10 additional contract city deputies and leaving that general fund deputy number at 32. And so I just need to make sure that I'm including on this quarterly report the appropriate number, the appropriate option from the sheriff, because I'll add that to this list as well. And
Okay.
I'm assuming it's the 28.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
I'd like
Commissioner
to, what I'd like to do after studying this further is I would like those numbers to reflect the shift to 28 deputies plus the additional six. But in that presentation, back to the sheriff, is I'd also like to have the option, and I would like this body, who are the mayors of unincorporated Weber County, to include the option to include the additional 4 deputies.
At any time?
Well, whenever, timing is interesting, but when we present the 28, which gives them 10 or 4 and 6, I'd also like to do another 4 as the option, because I would like those additional 10. That's how I'd like to see it.
another 4 paid by the contract cities.
Another 4 played by the contract cities, and so.
Because the assumption is, just to clarify, the assumption is that the 4 shift are already patrolling there, including in our
Absolutely.
unincorporated area.
Correct.
So we're still supportive of 10. I mean, I think 10 additional. So I think the presentation is they only want to go to the contract cities asking for 6 more.
That's correct.
Because
Not
they
10.
have the additional burden of paying for the 4.
But if they'd still like the additional 4, that would be like an extra.
That our vote as the mayors of our unincorporated area would be to continue to fund that, but I don't think that's what they're asking.
So the,
So I
so
think
the decision is do we
presentation-
support 28 or 32?
I'm 28.
28.
Okay,
So the budget change would be an additional 6,
correct.
is what the sheriff is asking, additional 6 new positions.
Correct.
And so the only, so I received a copy of the sheriff's budget change proposal. But they have included a budget change amount for an entire year. And because this doesn't go into effect until
right.
July 1, I'm going to suggest that we adjust these numbers to reflect a July 1st start.
After that.
Agreed.
So
Yeah,
that's to accurately reflect our budget, but their job is to communicate to the contract cities that this is ongoing.
Yes.
For beginning in their next fiscal year.
Yes. So that number would be, their budget number would be adjusted to reflect that for the entire fiscal year for the contract cities.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, because they'll have to get that to the contract cities here sooner than later.
okay,
Okay, we okay?
I would still like to give them the option of the additional 4 deputies, no matter how the sheriff
Well,
couches that.
That's just communication to the cities and.
But that's up to the cities.
I think that gives the sheriff an option. Here's what it is, we're gonna go with 28 and this is your price. If you want an additional 4 deputies on top of the 10 you're getting, would be the price.
okay.
So really that comes down, he'd have that option under his contracts that he has with the cities. He just beefs that up by another 4 deputies.
And each city could say, okay, we like that plus the
Yeah.
additional 4.
Let him
Because
argue
all
that.
of them in the meeting I attended like the idea of going even higher than that. So it gives them an option.
Couple I talked to wanted us to pay more, but anyway, it's funny how that works.
Okay,
Okay,
I think I got it.
thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, now, if I'm not mistaken, we'll look for a motion to leave the work.
Motion to leave the work session to go to an administrative meeting regarding personnel.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. we're done with an administrative meeting. We'll be back to the work session at approximately, well, it won't be
Take your
2:30.
best guess.
Let's say 2:45 to be safe. We're gonna go offline. And video. Good, we're back in action. There's Commissioner Harvey. So with him in the room, I'm gonna take a motion to go back into work session.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're now at our 2:30 work session discussion regarding fee changes for the sheriff's office. Chief Colby Ryan, Julie Stoddard are with us from the sheriff's office. Chief, you're on the first of the list, so go ahead.
Okay, so we had our first reading last Tuesday.
Right.
We had some questions, so I wanted to make sure that we kind of clarified those and we're ready for the final meeting or final reading for tomorrow.
Correct.
So one of the questions, and I'll let Julie talk about the card processing and the fees for a notary.
Yeah, so the credit card processing fees, that is what we are being charged. Actually, we don't get charged at all. It passes directly to whoever makes the payment.
Which one we talking about now?
The credit card fees,
Okay, got
That
it.
was at 9%.
11.
11.
Yeah, I knew it was
Yeah.
more than 2.9.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yes.
Yeah, fairly pricey.
When we were putting this program in place, I tried to negotiate that number down and they would not budge. But that is all in. I don't have to touch it. There's no chargebacks. There's no inquiries. This is what the it's called Team Solutions. It's the inmate tracking software, what they charge the people making the deposits or making the bail.
So it doesn't make any difference what credit card then?
Correct.
So if it's an Amex or Visa, it's all
It's all the same. Yeah.
Okay, so does that go, I guess you answered the question. That doesn't go to the credit card company. This goes to the tracking service.
Yes.
Is that what we're saying?
I'm sure there's a portion that goes to the credit card company, but I do not have a breakdown of how that breaks out. They just said, no, this is our fee.
Okay, all right.
So
Got it.
that's, and it has been fairly, time consuming to deal with the chargebacks. So it's nice to not have that. Cause we are.
So they just, so with that 11%, they
take care of everything.
They manage all those payments.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
We get the money less the 11%
Oh,
and that's,
okay.
and it's out of our hands.
Okay,
Okay?
got it.
And then I looked, I did not see any other notary fees on the ordinance at all. So, state code allows for a $10 fee.
Do you have an order? Do you,
We have,
so you provide that service?
Who provides that? Does Ricky's office, like, are
I-
we just charging some random amount if it's not on our fees?
Richie's office would do that, but I don't know what they charge.
I don't either, but it's
Yeah.
not,
We-
it's not on the.
I did a search on different departments to see if maybe it's not in an ordinance, but it's on their website. I didn't find any other note of a notary.
You didn't talk to Ricky, did you?
I did not talk to Ricky.
I think
That
for
was my intent
$5,
of the question.
I mean, you can do it at a bank if you're a banker, but for this use, $5 is probably reasonable.
That's what I think too.
And I don't know if we get a lot of residents just coming into our office for
Occasionally, for the
Occasionally we do.
civil window. Most of what gets notarized is inmates and their attorneys and
Right,
things like that.
okay,
So-
got
We
it.
should probably make sure this makes its way onto our regular fee schedule
Yeah, neat,
for all other departments.
yeah, that's a good point. The notary
That's
fee.
But I looked through the rest of the fee schedule and I didn't see
Didn't see
any
that?
other notary noted. And like I say, I searched the website as well to see if anybody said they provide the service and did not find any.
Okay. So that's, you hadn't charged the notary fee before then?
No, we have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, got it.
it just wasn't listed.
Just wasn't, all right. Okay. All right, what else?
The other one was the audio video recordings.
Oh, yeah.
Redactions necessary. Talking to our grandma department with technology the way it is, the $35 I feel is fair compensation for what they have to do. They told me that most of those requests, when they come in, if there's no redaction needed, it's as much as looking up a case number, finding the report, hitting a button and sending the videos on to the requester.
Does it take additional storage or bandwidth or expense that are incurred from an IT perspective to do that?
No.
Sometimes those large files they can be cumbersome.
Yeah, all these ones that don't require a redaction are stored in our report management system, or it's already part of our case files through LensLock that we have purchased. So yeah, on the grandma side of it, no, there's the only special equipment we have for storage and stuff is when it comes to when we redact it. We have a program that we pay annually for that helps us go in and redact. Even minor redactions take some 5 to 10 minutes. And usually they're working on other projects while the computer program's doing its thing.
Okay.
But if it gets into where there's several videos, they all have heavy redactions, same with reports is when then we determine how long the video is, how long it's gonna take staff time. And that's where we'll send them an invoice and we don't do any work on that
Okay,
until the money is paid.
Where is that on the fee schedule?
That just goes through 63G in the grandma code is what we follow on that.
So we send them basically an invoice and they don't do anything until that invoice is paid.
And that was the
one that Chris read.
in the first hearing.
Okay. Great.
Incident reports that and accident reports, some of those require redaction. We also have a program we use that's by crash to help alleviate some of the pressure that we get from insurance agencies on how many grandma requests we get in. And it also feeds into our online reporting system. So where that $50 from $15 is to when they changed state law, I believe it was 2 years ago, about what we have to release on accidents. That's a fair compensation for the time it takes for our staff to go through those and helps us push most of those requests through LexisNexis is the program we use.
are they comparable to the neighboring counties, Davis and Box Elder, those fees?
I checked with, I did run our numbers that we were proposing as more like Ogden City, where we have the bigger contract cities.
Okay.
And these were comparable to
Okay.
Ogden cities. Statements would be the same. The accident report with statements is the same as pulling an incident report. And then we just wanted to update the police reports to reflect those two from $15 to $50 or up to 30 pages. We don't get too many that come in and request printed copies anymore. And then the additional pages would stay the same.
And then I did add the varies on the staff time when we're doing a lot of redactions and we actually do the quote.
Right.
We're not gonna state a rate because it's gonna vary depending on how much time it takes.
I apologize, I didn't see that on the
That's
last
okay.
line. So yeah, that covers us when it's goes from the no redaction to needing redaction, and we just fall under 63G2-203 subsection 2.
Okay, questions, Commissioner Harvey?
No, I think that's okay. I don't have.
You okay? That was one, Commissioner Polos.
No.
Nothing.
And then we had the haircuts, the beard trims, and the prescriptions.
We'll see, you added the.
And then the deputy.
Was it the beard trim in here, $4?
Yes,
That's pretty reasonable.
I think so.
I wouldn't know.
And then on the.
They charge a lot more of that downtown.
Glad to know.
Yeah.
Glad to know you don't
But-
know. That was a trick question. You passed.
But anybody that needs a beard trim, I'd send them out there because they'll charge you $20 downtown.
I don't think we'd let the general public join in on that.
And then, yeah, the question about the deputy sheriffs for overtime hours. We would honor any contract that is signed and in place before this ordinance goes into place.
Yeah, there was some questions and I'll just bring it up now. There was
What
some
was that?
questions that they've been holding they've been asking, the Ogden Echoes Conference Center
Oh,
has been asking the sheriff to sign the contract
right.
for the TCG and they've not executed that. They've either not got around to it or for some reason. And so these new fees would apply to the TCG, which changes the whole budget of the whole show. So that's that is a little bit of a problem. So
So they-
We
the
can
fact
make it in
you
effect
said-
after that's signed.
Yeah, we
How
can
long
do
has
that
it been?
too.
How long ago?
Well, they've had that, I don't know how long they've had it, but I do know that you guys have had that contract for a while.
Well, if you just specifically note that we know this contract is in process and should honor the
Okay,
previous rate.
yeah, that's.
I think that's
that-
sufficient.
So the previous rate would be the 63.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is that how you understand it?
That's correct.
But it's really going from, yeah, it's one budget to another.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, if that contract's been
In process,
process,
I think it's reasonable to say we will honor that.
to me, that's fair.
yeah, okay. That's
I
good.
make a note of it and make sure that happens when we start.
Yeah, if you
filling
would.
it out.
I think we'll probably bring it up on the record tomorrow, just.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we will, probably. I know I will.
Okay,
Be great.
appreciate that. Anything else, chief?
I think, yeah, we just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
all our ducks were in a row.
Thanks for
before
coming back here.
tomorrow's
It's a lot better here than.
You okay with this? Yeah, I appreciate you kind of giving us the inside scoop and
Of course.
so we knew what's going on a little bit.
Yep, happy to do it.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And I did talk with Steph a little bit in the hallway about the budget change. And we're gonna look at it and look at maybe a little bit of a prorate since it is gonna not be in place for the full year.
Yeah,
So she and I are gonna coordinate
Yeah.
this afternoon and we'll get that
yeah.
laid out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. I'm gonna miss that.
We're only,
Yeah.
we're only
Don't
20
leave
minutes
that.
behind now.
I know that not a lot of us here that can use that, but thank you.
I could, see, not a beer trim, but. I
You
could
could,
use
yeah,
that.
you don't want the bear, but you could use the purse. Hey, ready for? It's this, well, going again. So we're here at our 2:45. We're slightly behind schedule. To discuss discussion regarding proposed changes to the county land use code. To remove or change unneeded provisions related to the now incorporated Ogden Valley and other clerical or policy updates. That
Okay,
better tailor the code to unincorporated Weber County. Charlie Ewart, Sean Wilkinson, Gary Meyer, Stan Bernice, Tammy Adelot. I don't see Tammy. She was here. a second.
She was here a second ago. She'll be back.
Okay, Charlie, you're up.
Excuse me. Okay. The single sheet you have in front of you is 600 pages of code change
Wow.
distilled down into one. So it's clearly not
I
all
like
of it. So I just wanted to go through the bullet points with you and see if anything kind of
was it really 600 pages?
590 something.
Oh my gosh, I thought you were exaggerating.
Go through the whole code and
Entire
make
code.
small changes due to Ogden Valley.
Yep. So the vast
Can we
majority.
go back for that time?
No,
Why?
because it's our code. It's not
Okay.
our code.
Okay,
It'd be nice because it's taken a bit of time. So the big stuff is we're getting into the code and we're making sure that the things that are now irrelevant because the city incorporated have been changed. Most of it's being deleted, some of it's being converted to something else.
You're talking about kind of the specialty zones we had for Ogden Valley.
Yep.
That were not the same as down here.
Yep.
Okay,
There are a couple other things that we're doing as well, a couple of policy changes that we're recommending. Any of them, all of them, some of them can be pulled out of the code changes at you guys' discretion. I just want to run you through these just to see if anything stood out to you that for which you needed more information. I was planning on not printing the entire 600 pages.
Yeah,
I was
let's
planning
not
on
do
getting
that.
it to you guys electronically, if that's okay. You guys can scan through it that way. The electronic version that I'm gonna send over to you guys is color coded. Highlighted yellow means that's something that is changing because the Ogden Valley Incorporated.
yellow.
Yellow, and it's written on the top.
Okay.
You'll see each page has the code on it.
Okay,
But highlighted green suggests that there's a policy change that's written in there. So I'll go over those with you here and we can talk as short or as long as you want to about it. Okay, so just from the top, we're looking at changes to the zones. AV3 zone and the FV3 zone become the F3 zone. So consolidating those two together, and F stands for forest. So this is the forest zone. It'll be moved into the forest zone chapter. FR1 zone becomes the F1 zone, F standing for forest again, moving that into the forest chapter. FR3 is forest residential 3. That's our high density forest residential zone. That becomes R3A. R3A is residential. It's our higher density residential. A stands for attached.
Okay.
So moving that into the residential zone chapter. S1 zone, it's primarily governing the shoreline of Pineview, which we've got very little shoreline of Pineview now in the unincorporated area. So we're tailoring it.
Do we have
to
any shoreline?
Tiny bit at the dam is in the unincorporated area. So not much of a shoreline. It's just steep hills that go right into the water, right? Most of if not all of that shoreline zone in the Ogden Valley is state or federal property.
Yeah.
So same thing with out west. The shoreline zone does supply to the Great Salt Lake, but it's all state property, state or federal property out west. So we're just adjusting it a little bit so it meets the objectives of Great Salt Lake shoreline needs.
The annexation of Hooper, did that take in any of the shoreline?
Oh yeah,
Hooper City took a ton, didn't it?
ton. Yep, yep. So the only shoreline we have is just what lines the unincorporated area now. Yeah, Hooper City, it's the width, it's the width of their entire city all the way to their central point in the middle of the lake somewhere.
Well, it's on the Fremont Island, isn't it?
I believe, yes, I believe Fremont is,
Yeah.
yep.
We don't have any point on Fremont Island any longer, correct?
No.
They can manage the no seams.
That's right. That's right. Plenty of those out there. So the CBR1 zone, just changing that to the CR zone, calling that the commercial recreation zone and moving it into the commercial chapter. We're deleting the manufactured home zones. We can always bring them back if we get a manufactured home product that we want, but there's only 2 manufactured zones and they're both in the Ogden Valley, over by Chris's restaurant. Deleting the MV1 zone, we don't need that anymore. And then the form-based zone, making a couple adjustments or a handful of adjustments in form-based. First thing we're doing in the form base, and this isn't because of the Ogden Valley Incorporation, this is just we wanted to update the form base, and we knew that we had to tread lightly. Because of the Ogden Valley. Now that we don't have the Ogden Valley to deal with, we're just dealing with Western Weaver. We can make a lot more broad changes. And Western Weaver Planning Commission, or excuse me, Weaver County Planning Commission now is open to that. So as we look at form-based, we want to take it a little bit more towards a true form-based code where lot standards are quite flexible. Most of what we're doing is right in line with the flexibility that we put into our residential zones. So really not a whole lot different between the form-based zone and our residential zones in terms of lot size, lots of flexibility. We didn't previously have a density cap in form-based, and that was because we wanted developers to find incentive and benefit and going out and grabbing as many TDRs as they can in the valley and moving them into those villages. Now that we're working with Western Weaver, we wanted to make sure that there was a cap of some sort on there.
Ask a question really. On the form base for the West River corridor, would we be able to look at the Inland Port project area as well? We talked about that a long time ago when you and I first met, and looking at some of those industrial cores and doing it for those cores, because it would make the project process go really quick if we had a form based in those areas as well, commissioners. That's something we'd be interested in entertaining.
This is step 1 of probably a 2 or 3 step process. Trying to clean up the Ogden Valley stuff while taking care of the lower hanging fruit. Planning Commission is planning on still getting back into the rest of the details and making sure the rest of the code fits well. And I think so. I think that'll fit really well with the upcoming change that we're working on.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Applying the density cap in form base is important because we're removing the transferable development right requirement altogether. It's not doesn't mean anything in Western Weaver. Okay. DRR1 zone, Destination Recreation Resort Zone. So it's actually called the Ogden Valley Destination Recreation Resort Zone. So we're just deleting the word Ogden Valley, but also changing the TDR. There's a lot of red tape in the TDR program that's in the DRR1 zone. We're just pulling the red tape out of that all together and applying the form-based zones TDR requirements, which TDRs and that is allowed by right. There's certain scoring that you got to have in order to get those TDRs. There's an incentive, a matching incentive that comes with it. We just wanted to make sure it was very clear and easy for an applicant to go through that TDR process, same way they were doing, for example, John Lewis and others were doing in the form-based zones. So those are changes to the zones themselves. Changes to the subdivision code. I won't read through each of these things, just so you guys know, we're bringing it up to the state code standard. We've got a process that we have in place that we're following that follows the state code, but our subdivision chapter is a little light on the process, right? So we're trying to follow the state code and our own code at the same time with these adjustments. That'll be one thing that we're following. It'll all comply with state code. And then we're deleting the cluster subdivision code. Without the Ogden Valley, there isn't a need for it. We've already put the flexibility of clusters in those residential zones for Western Weaver. So wasn't much of a need to have a cluster subdivision code anymore. Okay. We don't govern single family dwellings very much, but a couple of things that we do govern is roof pitch, eave, the measurement of eaves, and whether or not you can have a second kitchen. We're suggesting that you remove the second kitchen governance altogether. One of the reasons why we govern, we don't say you can't have a second kitchen. We say if you have a second kitchen, you have to record a covenant to the property that you are agreeing that you're not going to use it as a accessory dwelling unit. It gets really clunky. It's administrative. In my opinion, administrative junk. It's not needed. And ultimately, if somebody wants to build a kitchen, they're going to, and they're just going to get permits for it. So in our opinion, if you want to have 6 kitchens in your house, have 6 kitchens. The second you are renting one of them out as an accessory dwelling unit, that's when you've got to come into compliance. And that's a code enforcement thing as opposed to a recorded covenant to the property thing. So somebody has the recorded covenant and they do want to do an accessory dwelling unit. They come in, they get a permit for the ADU, and we remove the covenant restriction that's applied to the property. So we just figure not put the covenant on there in the first place, and just let code compliance deal with it as we see the need to do so. Just eliminating a little bit of our overhead. Okay, and second to last thing, drinking water source protection. Right now, the drinking water source protection zone, I think you two were here when we were talking drinking water source protection a couple of years back. The county adopted a drinking water source protection zone based off of state code requirements. But when the state code requirements were created back in, I think it was in like 2008 or 2009 timeframe, I think it was the Division of Drinking Water created a model ordinance, and they brought them around to the counties that the state code was applicable to and encouraged that the model ordinance be adopted. And as far as I understand it, the county adopted the model ordinance pretty much as is. The challenge with that is the state code only requires certain things to happen. Our model ordinance goes above
way beyond.
Way beyond. And you guys probably remember Robert Fuller in the Ogden Valley. He wanted to put a house. He couldn't put a house here because he had to essentially run a pipe to his sister's property in order to have his drain field over there outside of certain protection zones. We're recommending that we narrow our focus on that from a county perspective. We're not recommending necessarily that the governance of safe drinking water be narrowed, but the county isn't the governing authority over safe drinking water. And so as far as land uses go, we're suggesting instead of zone 1, 2, 3, and 4 for drinking water source protection, we just stick to zone 1 and 2, which is what the state code requires.
If that's the state code, that's where I am.
Yep.
That's an easy one.
State code does require us to have something adopted in our land use regulations, so that would be this, but state code also explicitly says that the county can create a way where the county doesn't have to enforce it. And just because the county doesn't enforce it doesn't mean that the water entity can't enforce it, that the Division of Drinking Water can't enforce it, that the health department can't enforce it. So the way that the changes are written gives the county the ability to say, hey, we're going to be hands off on this one, but everybody else, you've got the ability to take care of this in district court. So, and that answers one of the big concerns that I have. I believe that the way that the state code is written creates a due process issue. I think some people would say that the word zone in source water protection zone doesn't actually mean land use zone. But at the same time, the state code says you got to put it in your land use regulations. When you create a land use zone, you have to have a hearing. You have to send notice to the people who are inside of that area being affected by the zone. The way that the drinking water source protection zone under state code is written, no notice is given. And so I think that's a due process issue. The way it works is the water company, they go out and they do the geology to figure out how fast drinking water gets down to their aquifer. And that determines their zone 1 and zone 2 and 3 and 4. They then report that shape, that geometry to the State Division of Drinking Water. The State Division of Drinking Water then sends it to us and says, this is the new zone. So you might have a source water zone applied to your property and you, in that process, never get notice. The state code for non-class 1 and 2 counties says that in order to satisfy source protection, water entities have to go out and buy easements from the property owners that they're affecting. That to me is the answer across the board. But the state code doesn't give that to us. It says that we have to have a regulation. So under our ordinances, we're suggesting, under these changes, we're suggesting also that water companies buy their easements from people that they're affecting. So it's not just a potential due process violation. So that probably put more explanation into that than I needed to. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew what was coming forward. We also rewrote it so it's actually easier to use. And then last but not least, fee updates. So we went through, looked at what it actually cost the county to have a planning division. And we did our best to apply the actual hourly burden to each of our application types. And that brings fees up a good deal. We did that with the planning division, the engineering division, and with the surveyor's office.
We did that.
We haven't raised them yet, but we did the analysis. And so of the 500 pages, if you go to the very end of those 500 pages, you'll see the new proposed fee structure, which I haven't put the numbers yet as to what we would have earned last year had we used it. But I'll have that when we go to public hearings.
That's gonna be, how are we compared with like North Ogden or West Haven or some of these other cities that plain cities, or I wouldn't go there, but maybe.
We've got an
South Weaver would be a good place to check.
We've got an incomplete analysis of their fees. One of the challenge is everybody calls it something different. It's not like the building permit fees where everything is based off of an international standard. Every jurisdiction is different. Some people call it site plan review, some call it design review. And so we've tried to kind of suss out how those different fees apply. But it's a challenge to do so. If you'd like, we can try and get some side by side for your.
I'd just like to see, so if we're at 500 and somebody else is at $30, you know, I mean.
The other issue there, if you look at Riverdale, if you look at West Haven, they don't have property taxes. They're not afraid to subsidize a little bit. Where if we don't charge what we have to charge, we don't have any money. So that there are some differences like that as well between the different jurisdictions that we're going to look at. So
I respect that.
A little bit more of an analysis.
Sure.
What we're finding is a lot of the jurisdictions that are a little bit more sophisticated and are trying to do full cost recoup as much as they can. Their fees are high, as high, if not higher than the ones that we're proposing. So I'll try and pull some of those as well. The rub is that a lot of jurisdictions have not increased their fees in a long time. They're not keeping up with the cost to do business. And in some cases, that doesn't cost them as much to do business because they don't provide.
I was gonna say, it's not really fair to compare us against some of these cities that maybe have one part-time planner.
Yep.
And we've got
as well.
a half a dozen. But if you remember, when we go through the budget, a couple of departments are always below, having to be subsidized out of
correct.
municipal service.
That's right.
Planning, engineering to a
Yep.
certain extent. So if, you know, again, the people that are using those services, I'm a service guy, should pay for them. So, and I think it's fair that we look at what our actual cost, obviously we want to kind of compare us across the board,
Yeah.
but I think it's just as important, if not more important, to look at what our costs are based upon what our workload is, what we're paying out.
So what you're saying, if you want to play golf, you need to pay the green fees.
That's it, yeah, pay, you know, and does the country club charge different than Riverside? Yeah, they do. But you can decide to go to Riverside or you can go to the country club. You make the choice.
That's right.
Yeah. Nobody's twisting your arm.
Last time we went through the entire fee structure and changed the fees, we did a fee analysis at that time. And I don't think anyone here was on the commission at that time. Harvey, were you on the commission at that time? And I think the final result was, this is a big jump going from $200 for a subdivision application to $1,500. That's a big jump. Let's do half. And so at that time, we said, what's our?
We
full
did them
cost?
we did them in phases.
Mhm.
You know, a phased approach is something that I like. I don't know if we've heard that much here, but
I've heard that term a couple of times.
Okay, I'll have an analysis outside of the 500 or 600 page document that I send you. That just shows what today's costs are versus what the new cost would be under the new codes or under the new fees. And then I'll have something that shows what other jurisdictions.
That'd be good.
Okay.
So what is your plan as far as getting this before the commission in terms?
I'd like to get it to you guys as fast as we can. I mean, as early as Tuesday, not tomorrow, but the
following
week from tomorrow, if possible. But it doesn't have to be then. It could be, actually, you know what? Sorry, it's gonna have to be the week after because I'm not here Tuesday. So, so 2 weeks from tomorrow.
All right.
Well,
gives us enough time.
we won't be holding a commission meeting on the 2nd or the 5th of May. That's what you're proposing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then 3 weeks from.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
That's it. You have any questions? Anything
Questions?
stick out to you?
Questions?
No.
Okay.
I will say good job on keeping it current. I mean,
yeah,
I'm glad to know that you're looking after the business of the county. And sometimes this is gonna be a hard pill to swallow because there will be builders or contractors come and say, oh my gosh, it costs this much, what it costs us to do business.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, that's what it is. This is what we do for the service, and we can't have subsidies coming from the tax, kind of like the general fund versus what we see, you know, with the contract cities.
Yeah.
Is it fair?
Yep, that's a great way to look at it. Know that this is step one. There's still others that are coming forward, like I mentioned. One of those includes the parking chapter that probably hasn't been updated since the 50s. If you're interested, you need to have at least one parking space per bedroom in a bachelor or bachelorette pad. So that is governed in our parking code. So those are the kinds of things that we want to update as well, but that'll come in.
It'd be nice to come into the real world. Last time I
Right.
checked, this was a little past 1950.
We are asking people their marital
Like
status
75 years.
when they submit a building permit application.
Sebastian pad or?
All right,
Yeah.
that's all I have for you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. So commissioners, our next thing I show is a closed session on our agenda.
Motion to move to a closed session to discuss character and competence of an individual.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're now in closed session, so we're going to stop the recording.